안녕하세요, 大家好. Welcome to Earth of Spurs. I am your host, Gabby. I am, of course, a Tottenham supporter. And today we have a special guest, one of my best mates. It's Ari.
Yay!
How
Thank
you doing,
you.
mate? How you doing?
Thank you. Pleasure being here. Thanks for having me.
Yep. So, a lot of you remember, like, oh, by the way, I guess I should introduce the whole background between us. We met at Leeds University when we were studying Chinese, and we lived together. Not together. We both lived in Shanghai for a few years until COVID happened, and now I'm in Korea. So I remember when we were in China, we told people, yeah, we're best mates, and then it's like, oh yeah, he supports Arsenal. Oh yeah, I support Tottenham, and they were like, what?
Why are you
Your
best
friends?
mates? What the hell? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about that first. Rivalries with friends. It's very normal in London, but maybe not so much. Um, Maybe like people would think like, oh my God, your best friend supports your rival team. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think when you grow up, all the teams are quite close to you. So I actually feel it's unusual when you see someone who supports a team that's like Manchester United or Liverpool when they're from in and around London. So I think it's quite normal when you get family and friends who support Arsenal, Spurs, West Ham. So I don't know. It's normal for me, but maybe other cities only have one or two teams. So maybe, yeah, for others, I think it can be unusual. But I've always grown up having these rivalries, even within the family.
Yeah, that's a very good point actually. What people may or may not know is that even in families we have it's literally split, where like one person supports Arsenal and the other supports Tottenham, maybe even Chelsea as well. That would be
Yeah.
crazy. So and yeah, you're right, there's a lot of people who support Man United and Liverpool in London as well. Not that I blame them, but I always felt like I'd rather people in London support Arsenal than Man United, to be honest, because at least you're supporting your local team. Obviously, I'd rather they support Spurs, but
Well, I think there's two types of fans. There's one where your family forces you to support a team, or you kind of have to because everyone else around you, your family and friends do, and they're a local team. Or there's the type of fan where their family are not that big into football and they kind of let them choose.
yeah,
And when you're like born in the 90s, the best team was Man United. So a lot of them would have just chosen them from when they were young and just been there ever since.
yeah. The 90s. so let's go on to our next topic, which is this new crazy amazing Arsenal team. Like, what has happened since last season?
I think he always had this plan, and they always throw around the trust the process thing, which is fair enough. But I think he's always had this plan, and he just needed some time to do it. And don't get me wrong, it's not like he's had money as well. So he's had time and money, which is super unusual in modern football.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a combination of his vision and luck, but it feels like all the players are in form now. I don't know if if that is helping as well. You got people like Granit Xhaka, who was like an outcast before, and now he's like one of our best players. It's insane. So I kind of feel all these different things are coming in at the same time. We got this new style of playing, got all these new players coming in, like the youth and experience combined. I think maybe it's just, it's all coming together this season.
Yeah, I remember like last year was like trust the process, and the Amazon the
Right.
Amazon
Yeah.
thing came out last year, and I knew like I always feel like when the Amazon thing comes out, it's literally like when it was the Spurs one, it was a terrible season. Like Poch got sacked, and COVID happened. It was crazy, but like it's a shame for them that they're not doing the Amazon thing this season because
Right.
they're really proving everyone wrong as well. I remember the first big test you had was against Man United, and you beat them at Old Trafford. And yeah, I was like, oh damn, okay, so they're the real deal.
Last season, right? Last season.
No, I think it was earlier this season, right?
No, we lost against Man United at Old Trafford this season. That's actually the only game in the league we lost.
Oh, I'm
But there
getting
was
confused. Okay, that's
the first big one. I think the first big one I think was Liverpool, maybe. I think Liverpool at
Liverpool.
home.
That's the one. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that
Liverpool.
was the one.
Liverpool was the one where I was like, oh no. I was just watching it like, oh no. I think the Man United one, there was something about the Man United one that I thought, was it that you still played quite well and
Yeah,
then
people say we shouldn't have lost it and we were the better team, but yeah,
right?
it was a shame.
Yeah, my memory is terrible, but um, I definitely can remember that Spurs have been pretty bad. Let's talk about Spurs. They have been pretty bad this season. Even when we were like third, we were still playing bad. And a lot of fans were saying, oh, like if we're playing bad and we're in third, then imagine when we do play well. And we're still waiting for them to play well. I'm not that kind of fan who's like, oh yeah, let's wait until we play well. No, I'm just like, well, it's no wonder that we don't win trophies when, we're just not playing well, and then maybe at the end we scrape a fourth place, because that's what happens when you don't play well. You need some consistency. What do you think of this Spurs team? Is it the same old Spurs?
I think Spurs have a huge problem with letting in goals like early. They're always the first team to concede 1 or 2 goals, and by the time they start playing in the game, they got to grab like 3 or 4. So I don't know what's going on with the defense. They have this elite manager who is supposed to be this defensive minded guy who always gets the best out of his team in regards to his defense.
Yeah.
Suddenly letting in so many goals. It's just really weird to see. And sooner or later, it's going to, you can't keep winning games 3-2. Like you've seen Son and Kane this season. They haven't been as, I don't know, Kane, yeah, but Son, he hasn't been as good as he's been
Yeah.
before.
So we conceded before, I think, Crystal Palace, we conceded first in 10 consecutive league games, which is
Right.
in intense. It's terrible. And I feel like Arsenal's the opposite. You guys are quick fire. First 3 minutes you'd score a goal,
Yeah.
which I haven't seen in a while.
A lot of early goals.
Yeah, a lot of early goals. So for me, it's like we have to try to get to half time, like a 0-0 or 1-1, which we did last in October, but then obviously Emerson Royale got a red card. But like I think we lost that match anyway, with or without the red card.
The Spurs are weird because you see them one game and they're shocking, and then what was it last game? 4-0 away to Palace, right?
Yeah.
Was that the last game?
Yeah.
Don't understand the inconsistencies with the team. Like they will be really good one day and really poor the next.
I think apart from this season as well, I think Arsenal were pretty similar. I think Spurs and Arsenal were very similar in that regard for the last several years, where you'd beat Man City and then lose to, who am I going to disrespect here? And then you lose to Norwich. So that happens all the time. Or you get like some mad Champions League away win to Barcelona, and then the next match you lose to West Brom 2-1. That happens so much with both of our teams, actually. But it's not happening, it seems, to you this season. So do you think like this crazy consistency can continue?
That's the thing. It feels like people are saying it's not an if, it's more of a when, right? Everyone's saying, oh, when they will, but they keep winning. So
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of Arsenal fans, none of them want to admit that we're in a title race or that we can win the league. Even the most optimistic fan is saying like, oh yeah, I'll be happy with second, because that was the goal really, to get into the Champions League. And now we find ourselves like 5 points ahead of City, top.
Yeah.
So we're trying to keep a lid on it all and try not to get too carried away, because we've seen this so many times.
Yeah.
Like since I'm going to go back to 2008, I believe, when we had Adebayor. Adebayor up top. I remember we were just banging in goals, and it was when you remember Eduardo had that horrific
against
injury.
Birmingham.
And
Never
then after
forget.
that, we just went down and lost the league. And it happened again with when Ozil first came in, when Ramsey was banging in all the goals. We were top of the league at Christmas, fell away again. There was the one where Danny Welbeck scored the winner against Leicester the year Leicester won the league. It happened again. And even last season, right, we were 4 points ahead of Spurs with 3 games to go, I think it was. And we just let it go again. So I can't blame the Arsenal fans for having this way of thinking, because we've seen it so many times, and you never feel safe until the season's over, right?
Yeah. Although, to be fair, I feel like there definitely are some people on Arsenal fan TV who are like, "We're gonna win the league."
Yeah, that's just being a fan, though, right? I feel that every club has that. Like even like when they're like 3 games in, 3 wins, like, oh my god, we're top of the league, we're gonna win it. Oh my, it's gonna be our year.
There were definitely some Spurs fans who tried to say that, but I'm always a realist and a pessimist, I guess, because and I think with Spurs is safe to do that, because you're not really going to be too disappointed. But yeah, but let's talk more about this North London derby recent record.
Right.
17 consecutive league games between us where the home team has either won or drawn. They haven't lost. So
Right.
is it going to be the same thing this time? Are Arsenal going to break that curse? Are Spurs going to win?
Well, I think it's the best time that we have now, because our team is flying. We're not really afraid of anyone. It seems we'll go to City and we'll go to United, Liverpool, Spurs, and we'll play our game, and we won't be afraid of any opponent. So I feel like it is the best time to break that record. But having said that, I've seen so many away games at Spurs. No matter how bad they are, no matter what is going on at the club, they're super up for it, and it's I don't. Thinking back now, maybe 2013 was the last time I saw us win a league game there. So they're always up for it, and it will never be an easy game, as cliche goes. But I just can't see us winning. I think it will be a draw, in my opinion, but I don't know. It's I would never be confident going there and expecting to win. That's just insane
I
to me.
think that's the thing about the North London derby, or indeed most great derbies. No matter what your form is, derby day is just that. It goes out of the window, and anything can happen.
But it works the other way around as well. So when Spurs come to the Emirates, I'm always like, no, we're not losing today. We were not going to lose this game. So I feel like it works both ways. We go to Spurs, I'm like, oh, we're not going to win.
Yeah.
They come to us.
If they do win this time, I wouldn't be too surprised, because in the past 8 years, this is only the second time that you are favorites away from home to win the North London derby. So you're definitely favorites coming into this one. So yeah, I think fans will be key. Recently, the atmosphere at our stadium has been not great. In fact, very quiet. And I don't think it's just the Korean TV that mutes the fans. I think is being very quiet. Fair enough. There hasn't been much to cheer about. We've been terrible. Yeah, we've been terrible and going 2-0 down in a lot of games. But for me and for you as well, I know, because we watched Shenhua together in Shanghai. We go to games to just make noise and support the team and have fun, right? But I feel like it's not really the same for everyone, let's say.
Well, especially when it's like a Big Six team, right? They go there expecting to win, and they pay big money. They want to see good football, and they want to see the team win games, really. So I kind of get it. But when you got a team like Shenhua or another lower league team, like, you're used to seeing them lose,
Yeah.
And when you win, it's like you're over the moon and you're just so gassed up.
Yeah, it was.
So it's different culture, I guess, for the team.
Yeah, that's true. Let's talk about our next topic, which is Arteta versus Conte.
Ooh.
I have to say, like everyone knows Conte, but I have to say Arteta is starting. Like I feel like no matter what happens this season, unless you like spectacularly flop, I
Mm,
feel like Arteta has gained a lot of respect. If he hasn't already
mm.
winning that FA Cup, he's gained a lot of respect and he's gained a lot of um, admirers, and people don't think he's clueless. And when he said trust the process, we now know there is a process. So,
Right.
what do you think about these two managers? What's your comparisons?
Well, I'll start with Conte. I think it's kind of generally seen that he's the elite manager. There's like there's Pep, Klopp, and Conte, right? They're seen as like the three elites in the
Yeah,
league. So it's hard to compare them because he's had a longer career and he's done so much in the past. What is he? He's won trophies, Chelsea and Inter, right, or whatever.
yeah,
Um, Arteta's this is like his first big job, and it's crazy that they've given it like Arsenal have given him the job in the first place. Honestly,
yeah.
but
That's true.
it was a risk that seems to be paying off. I feel like nowadays there's going to be a new batch of managers coming in, right? Because the ones that have been in the league have been around for a long time. So I think it's about time that we get some new elite managers coming in. And people always compare Arteta to Pep because he was working under him for so long and
Yeah,
whatever. But I think he is starting to show people what he's about and silence the critics because you hear a lot about this kind of stuff. They throw around these words like, "Oh, there's a process here. There's a process like with all this," and we're not really going to believe it until we see the results. And I feel like we are now. So, but the thing is with Arteta is, like I said earlier, he's had time and money,
yeah,
but I don't think that was for no reason. Like when he came in, he did win the FA Cup early, like in his first year or two. So I believe that gave him time and gave him a platform where the board would trust him and put money and time into him. So it's not like it's luck for him, in my opinion. I think he has worked, he has earned all this, and it is showing now in the results.
yeah. Was it last year or was it? I don't know if it was the summer or it was like the season before,
Hmm.
where Arsenal were like the biggest spenders.
Right. I think that was last summer when Ramsdale, Ben White,
Right,
those
right.
came in. Yeah. Yeah, they
Yeah,
spent
but
a lot.
I think you spent like a lot before that as well, but it didn't seem to work out at first.
Right,
And then
right.
there was like, oh, what has he done? He spent so much money. I'm pretty sure the year before that as well, right? Like you
Mm.
spent so much money, and then yeah, I don't remember, but you spent so much money, and then it wasn't seeming to work out, and people were questioning Arteta. But one thing I do have to say, actually, no, we'll talk about Arsenal players later. Let's
Okay.
stick with Arteta and Conte. Conte, he's won, Juventus, Chelsea, Inter. He's won a lot. But for me, personally, I feel like one of his best achievements would be to win a trophy with Tottenham because nobody can seem to do it. And it's not just the fact that it's Tottenham, it's also the fact that you have an owner like Levy who does not really give you what you want.
Who was the manager when they won the League Cup?
Juan de Ramos.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. It was even before Jamie Redknapp. So, you know,
Harry Redknapp, right? Yeah.
Harry, why did I say Jamie? Harry Redknapp. Harry Redknapp. Harry Redknapp got us into the Champions League, which was like
Mm.
an insane achievement because since then we've been able to actually stay roundabouts,
I
Champions League.
think the Harry Redknapp era was when Spurs started to become a real big team. I
Yeah,
mean, like
it was.
going for Champions Leagues all the time and being in the Champions League. I remember from that point when I think it was like Gareth Bale and maybe Modric or
That's what I
whatever,
was about to say. Yep. Gareth Bale.
they
Gareth Bale era.
started to really compete, not only in the league, but in the North London derby. I think before that,
Exactly.
we didn't really lose to Spurs. I think it
No,
was there's a fact that
we couldn't beat you for
Thierry
ages.
Henry Thierry Henry has never lost a North London derby. And that was at the end of his time, right? So when Thierry Henry left, people like Gareth Bale and Modric were coming in Spurs. And that's really when they started to become a force and a competitive team in the North London derby.
Yeah, I literally feel like since not only Harry Kane, but since Gareth Bale, we have been competitive in a North London derby, and it's been like,
who recently retired, by the way, Gareth Bale. Did you see that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was like
Insane.
at first I saw his picture, I was like, no, he's dead. I was like, oh, he's retired.
Mate, he's like 33 years old as well. I can't believe it. He's so young.
Yeah, to be fair, like if Ronaldo's 37, I don't know what it is with Gareth Bale. I think it's like Gareth Bale was so athletic and he relied on his pace so much that, you know, once you start to slow down, maybe he just felt uncomfortable playing. I'm not sure what it was, but like, I think he just wants to relax. Maybe like he's won it all. There wouldn't be even too much of a reason to continue. Like he can play golf now, which, you know, would really be like a nice retirement plan. Just play golf every day and just chill. Really, he's definitely earned a retirement. Like I don't think anyone's gonna say like, oh, you could have done more, but you know.
That's what I was gonna say. I think he's already won pretty much everything. And even when he got that World Cup goal against the US, I think he was like, all right, okay, I've done my bit. That's me now. Done. I'm out.
Yeah. But do you know what's crazy? Like he also won the MLS.
Yeah, insane. He's so good.
Do you know, this is another thing. I feel like a lot of Spurs players who leave then win a cup. Like the players who went to Villarreal then went and won the Europa League. And I was just like, bloody hell. And yeah. And obviously the ones like Modric and Bale who went to Real Madrid, they won as well. But speaking of Bale, and you know, after Bale, you know, we sold him, and luckily for us, there was somebody waiting in the wings to take his place, and that was Harry Kane. Now, Harry Kane, we all know probably his favorite games are North London derby, games against Chelsea, Champions League games. He has scored in 12 out of the last 16 North London derbies, which is insane. Like he's the top North London derby goal scorer now, and you know, like somehow
how many goals?
Geez, I don't remember, because I don't remember if I'm counting the last one, but actually, let me look it up.
I bet and I also want to know how many are penalties, because we always say it's a guarantee in the North London derby that Spurs will get a penalty and Kane will score it.
Yeah, I think he has 14 goals.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many are penalties. Probably a sizable.
I think it's got to be at least 5 or 6 for sure.
Yeah, I reckon maybe about 5 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely like a lot of great goals that I remember that were not penalties. You know, like headers, and that one where he scored that curling effort.
It's just a shame he couldn't score one for England, though. Oh man.
Let's not talk about that. But you know, I think about that, but then I'm like, okay. Speaking of that, there are, you know, like no one else is a better penalty taker than him.
Yeah, right.
So you know, the fact that he missed one is just like, well, you know, he barely misses. It's very rare to see him miss, to be honest. And I always feel like, is this going to be the one where he misses? Because he always just keeps smashing them in, even if the keeper goes the right way. But what I really didn't like about that, because, you know, like, what, we're going to rely on Kane's penalties to score against France. Like, you know, everyone else is in with goals as well. But what I really didn't like about that is, remember when Saka missed, and he got abused, obviously, and we had a friendly against Arsenal in preseason, and I think it was at the Spurs stadium, and we clapped when he came on, and I thought that was a really nice gesture. But the first match back, we faced Brentford, and the Brentford fans are booing him. I'm just like,
I think it's hard to say they're different, because technically they're not. They're both missed penalties in important international games.
Yeah,
But I
it's
think it
different
was because of
abuse.
the stigma of the racial abuse. I
Yeah,
think maybe
yeah,
gave him the respect that people were like clapping for him. And
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, Harry Kane like, Kane, you little what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like, you're white, I'm gonna abuse you. Yeah. No, I definitely feel like Saka was like had it way worse, and I'm glad that Spurs fans supported him. I just think like people were too harsh on Kane, but with Kane, like he thrives on booing. So like, and it's funny because we were losing 2-0 that match, and then we came back 2-2, and when we were
Mm,
2-2, Kane then hit the bar, so we could have won that match, and Kane would have just been like,
yeah.
you know,
Well, this is controversial, but I personally don't think Kane is that good for England compared to Spurs. I think he's way better for Spurs, and I wish that he could like. This is harsh because in the World Cup, the 2018 World Cup, he was like the top goal scorer and he was really good. But I just feel like every single time I watch him, I just feel frustrated because I see him
yeah.
for Spurs. I get, especially against Arsenal. Jesus Christ, I see him like banging these goals all the time, and he's really good. And he's like strong on the ball, whatever.
Yeah.
And when I see him for England, he just feels I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
No,
I feel like he
I know
could
what you mean, especially
help.
the World Cup this time because he. But to be honest, I was watching that, and obviously, like I pay a lot of attention to Harry Kane because he's a Spurs player. But the first few games, and this is similar to Spurs, very similar. The service that he gets is terrible. Like there were no good crosses or anything, and there were times where he has to come back or go on the wing to actually like put in a cross. Remember that cross he put in for Sterling, where Sterling like punted it, volleyed it
Right,
in. That
right.
was like a great cross, and that's the kind of thing that happens with Spurs as well. Like he's like, "Oh, sod this! Like you guys are not giving me good balls, and I'm just gonna do it myself." Which makes me think of actually Son Heung-min being
Mm,
like you know as much as anyone that I love that guy, but I
mhm.
would be the first one to tell you that he has been terrible this season. And you know, if you're not going to score goals, you should at least like have assists. But he hasn't really been contributing, and
Yeah,
goals is the main thing that we need.
yeah.
Um, do you think that this match he could be able to turn that around?
Well, the thing is, a lot of people were talking about this World Cup theory, right? Where a lot of the players, if it's like one of their last World Cups, they're kind of saving themselves, right? If you hear about that, like Messi and
Yeah,
Giroud and all these
which I don't
people.
blame them for because look at how
Yeah.
many players were injured for the World Cup.
So maybe Son was doing a bit of that. Maybe he weren't trying in the league in the first half of the season. Maybe he was waiting for that World Cup to
Yeah, but what
play
about
better for
now?
Korea.
What about now? Like World Cup's over, he's
World
still.
Cup's over now, so that's what I'm
Mm.
saying. We're going to see if it was all if he's going to come back to his original form from before. But
I think World Cup definitely could play a part, but I feel like the main thing because you know right from this, if you get injured in August, you still have time to recover, right? But like, so I think the main thing was that he won the Golden Boot with Salah, and he
last season,
yeah he won the Golden Boot with Salah, and then
right?
he I think that put too much pressure on him. Like, oh, now I have to like score. I have to like people are gonna be onto me. They know that I can score goals. But I have to score. I have to
Yeah,
score more than last season. You know, I just
maybe.
yeah, it aches every time. And you know, I see Korean people here, obviously in Korea. I see people here who are just like, that they're very frustrated that Sonny is not
Mm,
you know, providing the goods. But let's go on to the Arsenal players. Now,
mm.
I told you there's one player in particular who I really rate. Can you guess who that is?
I think I know who it might be. I'm going to guess it's going to be Martinelli.
What, just because we have the same name? No.
Yes, exactly my reason. That's what I
I'll
was going to
rate
say.
I'll rate his
Same
name. I'll rate his name.
name.
You know, like by the way, it's not Martinelli, that's the same. Gabriel is the same. But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can call me Gabby. So the player I actually rate is Nketiah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not saying he's the best, but I really rate him. So there was a time, I think it was last year. not like summer, but like the summer before that. Gotta get used to 2023 now. I remember he was on his way out, maybe because he wasn't getting
Right.
game
Yeah.
time. It could have even been last summer, actually. I think it was last summer.
I think it was last season. Yeah, it was last season.
It was last summer, right?
Yeah,
If
because I
not that,
remember
then January or something.
he was playing first team for like the last few games, and he was scoring like loads of goals.
Yeah,
He scored like at Stamford Bridge twice, I think it was.
yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
So he banged in goals for I think it was the England under 21s, and he was like top scorer of that tournament. And then I was like, what team does he play for? Oh, Arsenal. Oh, great. And yeah, it might have been the under 18 World Cup, actually. I don't remember. But I was just like, please go. Just like Emi Martinez, he's like, well, I'm not getting played or
Right.
respected enough, so I'm going to leave. And I was like, please, Nketiah, go. You can do it. Like, yeah, just play first team football, please go. But he's still there. And now that Gabriel Jesus is injured, he's actually playing first team football and he's scoring goals. So
Yeah.
what do you see for Nketiah in the future?
Well, I have an Eddie fact here. I've got a stat for you. Since the start of last season, he's started 24 times and scored 17 goals. Like that's
What?
not a bad return. He's no mug. But within the Arsenal fan base, I feel it's very mixed on him. A lot of us just think he's simply not good enough. And that we need to improve and buy a new striker in January. Like, it's kind of weird because we're in a position now where we could win the league. And with Gabriel Jesus injured, we only had this one player, Eddie, up top, and we kind of feel if we're going to win the league, we need a big star striker to replace the injured one. But I don't know. I feel like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but this guy, Eddie Nketiah, who's scoring goals, and we've just paid we pay him 100 grand a week or something, and we gave him the number 14 shirt, like historic number.
100 grand.
I don't think. Yeah. He's getting big money on the one where he signed last season, the summer.
Okay.
Like, I don't think they're going to be doing this for no reason. Like they obviously trust him and believe he's good enough. Now, where I don't know. Where I fall on this topic, I'm kind of on the fence. I do rate him and I like him, but I'm not sure he's good enough to push us to win the league. Whereas I think Gabriel Jesus is. I think he could win us the league. But Eddie,
I'm so glad he's injured, honestly.
He's been insane. And he hasn't scored many goals, but his link-up play and his involvement in the team is so crucial to
he scored a lot, like in the first 3 or 4 games, and then he went a bit quiet, but he was still very, crucial. I mean, at Man City, he was basically playing on the wing at times, and he was providing assists. So yeah, I can't believe you got Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus from Man City. That was very good, very good buy. Let's talk about Saka and Martinelli then.
Yeah. So last season, it was Emil Smith Rowe, right? He was the man. He was scoring our goals. He was first name on this team sheet, banging in all the goals. Amazing player. Gets injured, and then Martinelli comes in, and he's even better. Like, he's literally been better than Emil Smith Rowe was before.
Which is crazy because I don't know if you remember last season. I told you, Emil Smith Rowe is one of your best players, and Saka. Them two are your best. Oh, I did. I think I was telling you and Nathan, I was like, your strikers are so bad because you had like Aubameyang and Lacazette. I was like, your strikers are so bad. You rely on Saka and Emil Smith Rowe, who are amazing players.
I think simply Saka is our best player. He's like an elite player already. Like, he scores, he assists, he's up and down the field. He's just insane on the ball. Great crossing. He's probably our best player. But I think Martinelli offers something different. He's very direct. He will just get the ball, and which was kind of what Emil Smith Rowe did before. He would get the ball and dribble at players and bring them in and, play more directly. And that's what Martinelli's been doing. And every time he gets the ball, he's just going for the goal. He's going straight away.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the goals have been coming from, where either there's like a deflection or the ball pops out to someone else, and it's always from these two players just running in from the wings.
So that's why I'm very scared about Saka and Martinelli, because they're so direct and they will easily get past our right back, who is either Doherty or Emerson Royale. And our left back,
you were talking earlier about Son not being as good. I think partly is because of how bad the fullbacks are. I think if you have better fullbacks, then the attackers will also be better. I think that the fullbacks are just shambles right now for Spurs. And they're just so pony. And I think they're really pulling the team back. So
I think Perisic is pretty good, but like we can't really rely on him to always deliver. But Son, like his corners have been terrible as well. Like it's just everything about. I just miss like the old Son, and especially against Arsenal, he would be a threat because he would be able to run behind your slow defenders who you don't really have anymore.
Right. But I can't see Spurs not letting in goals in this game. Like having Saka and Martinelli against those fullbacks, we've got to get at least 1 or 2 goals.
Yeah, I think the odds for both teams to score would probably be pretty high. Like Harry Kane for Spurs, and then probably
Harry Kane penalty. It'll be a Harry Kane penalty.
I would not be surprised. Yeah. But yeah, are you gonna play Rob Holding? That would be nice.
Yeah, he would. Mate, we all love Rob Holding. Let's not talk bad about him.
Yeah, you're right. We do.
He's one of those players like El Neni as well, where he doesn't complain. He just does his job. I know last year he had that whole thing, but he's always in the team when we need him. So we respect that guy. He's a proper Arsenal player, But nowadays we've really upgraded the defense. Like Saliba and Zinchenko. We've got Ben White playing out of his skin. He's doing so well. This is controversial, but maybe Ben White is probably one of our players of the season.
Really? Wow.
Because he's stepped into right back for a lot of the time, and he's just played so well. So for me personally, I rate him highly.
Yeah. I mean, he was definitely expensive, so it's good that they're playing him. What are your predictions for this match?
Predictions. This is a crazy game, there could be so many different results for this. I think it all depends on, because we always see a red card in North London derby. I feel that there's always a sending off. If both teams can keep their head and keep 11 players on the field, I think it would probably be a draw. I can see a 2-2 or a 1-1. I feel like Spurs will just, they'll put all their energy to not lose this game. I can feel.
I should hope so.
Arsenal are just really good at the moment, so I don't think they can be beaten by a team like Spurs. I could be wrong, but I feel like they're too good to be beaten. I feel like it might be a bit cagey at first.
Yeah.
And you see it finishing 2-2, honestly.
Okay. Well, that's funny because my prediction is 1-1, but that's more because I don't see us scoring 2 goals. But I can see Arsenal scoring 2 goals. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we lose 2-1 or even 3-1, depending on how we deal with Saka and Martinelli. And yeah, I'm not even sure who we're playing in the midfield because we have Bentancur, who has been an important player for us, scoring goals as well. He's injured. So, yeah, I don't really know what team we're going to expect to show up, but for sure the fans will be, up for it, especially because, like, if not for trying to create a good atmosphere, it will be at least for like frustration and be like, oh, come on.
And also, I feel when the other team is doing well, it adds to it, that they want to win it even more.
Yeah. So ruin your parade, innit?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you 3 predictions from Spurs fans, and you can tell me what you think of these predictions. All right. The first one is from our fan from Brazil.
Tottenham 2, Arsenal 2. Vamos lá, Spurs!
Okay, what do you think of that? 2-2. He went for the same one as you.
2-2. Yeah, smart prediction, really. Yeah, the
Smart
safe
prediction.
one. The
From a
safe prediction,
smart
that
guy.
one.
All right, let's go to maybe a bit more of an optimistic one.
Spurs Korea 2-0 to Spurs. Tottenham fighting.
All right, you heard it here. Tottenham fighting. What do you think?
What was that one? What was the score? I didn't hear it.
Oh, you were too busy. 2-0. 2-0 to Spurs.
2-0 to Spurs. Like I said, I think I can see that scoreline happening if someone like Granit Xhaka puts in some massive 2-foot tackle in the midfield, gets sent off, and Harry Kane scores a penalty. And then I can see that happening.
Yeah, Granit Xhaka for me is like the main player that could get sent off, and I hope that like they're gonna like annoy him to try and do it, but the same thing could happen to our midfielders. Like they could get annoyed as well. But here is our maybe most optimistic prediction from our fan in Osaka.
I'm Osaka Spurs. 5-1 Spurs. North London is ours. Spurs, 頑張れ!
There, you heard it. Oh, you heard it here first.
This guy is living in cuckoo land. That's where he's living. 5-1.
Actually, he's living in Japan. Yeah, so yeah, he's a really nice guy. He's from Osaka, and he's like my beacon of shining light sometimes, because I'm just like, oh, we're gonna lose, and he's like 4-0 to Spurs, and I'm like, oh, thanks, yeah, okay, I've got the confidence back. So yeah, I always like his predictions.
There's always one guy like that, you know. There's always some super optimistic guy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like with me, it's kind of like that, but throughout the week, right? So at the beginning of the week, I'm like, oh man, North London derby, oh damn. And then when it gets closer and closer, you're like, we're gonna win, we're gonna do this, we're gonna win. Like and then on kickoff day, we're just like, oh my god, we're gonna win. It's like 4-0.
Yeah, I'm always like, I see the starting 11. I'm like, Harry Kane, Sonny, yeah, they can do it. Anything can happen. And as soon as the match starts, I'm like, oh no, we're gonna lose. Oh. Yeah, it's a roller coaster. I mean, that's what the North London derby is. It's a roller coaster of emotions. Even if like you're mid-table, nothing to play for, it's always like you just want to win no matter what.
And you know what's crazy? When you're watching the game, if for example, earlier in the season, I think it was 3-1, right?
Yeah,
the Emirates game. Did you have a red card in that game?
Yeah, Emerson Royale.
Okay, so you were 10 men and we were 2 goals up, and it was like the 90th minute. Even at that point, I'm just like, oh man, I don't know if we're gonna win this. Well, only until like when it's like the full-time whistle. I'm like,
funny you say that, because it was after that red card that we were trying to be more like, because we were not attacking, and after the red card, we were like, oh, we've got to like try and be more adventurous and just punt it up there, or like just do 1-2 and sprint. We actually created a couple of chances went after that red card, and it could have actually been a 3-3, but very unlikely, to be honest. But you know, it was possible.
We were the better team, no chance.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't have even been deserved, because we were just so bad. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but I'm pretty sure it will, because even against Brentford, you know, they were just coming, attacking, and I don't know what to expect. Like, you never ever know what to expect from Tottenham. Right. Yeah. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
No, I'm all good. It's been a good talk. Pleasure coming on the show.
Yeah.
Look forward to the next one as well.
Thanks for coming. Yeah.
Maybe we should have an after result show as well, but only if we win. Only if Arsenal win, we can do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could actually, well do that.
Yeah, like if you win 2-0, I just won't reply to you for like a week, and then phone on silent.
Or if you win, you just be messaging me like, oi, let's do it, come on. I just won't reply. Yeah. I don't know if we can, because obviously that's on Sunday night, and then Monday we both have work, different times.
Yeah, it's a late one on Sunday as well over here, right? Sunday,
yeah, 1:30 a.m. for me, and I don't even know if I can do it, because I'm working until 10 p.m. on Monday. So
the anxiety will keep you awake, believe me.
My anxiety keeps me awake every night, mate. Oh, it's getting dark. The North London derby. All right, mate. You can go and enjoy your weekend. This was actually really good. This was our first live stream for the channel, and obviously I'm gonna have to try and do more in the future to try get the viewing hours up. This was a really good experience, really fun.
Really
Hopefully people will
good.
watch. Hopefully people will watch it. And
not.
yeah, I'll see you. If not, yeah, probably not Monday, but we can definitely do the
See
next.
you when I see you.
Oh, see you when I see mystery man. I'll see
Yes.
you for the next North London derby. Oh wait, that'll be next season. Yeah, I guess I'll see you for the next season, unless you get far in the FA Cup.
Oh, stop.
Oh, mate,
See
you
you
got
next game.
you. I'll see you, mate. You have got Man City in the FA Cup. What do you think of that?
We got to play them a lot of times this season. I'm not really okay. I love the FA Cup. It's probably my favorite, actually.
You're gonna say I love Man City.
I love the FA Cup, but I feel we got the league and the Europa League are kind of we need to concentrate on.
Yeah,
so
I would
I'm
forget everything else and just concentrate on the league.
Yeah,
if I'm
so I'm
honest,
kind of not really bothered about it.
yeah, I wouldn't be as well. And you've won it like kind of recently as well in the last
like
10 years.
two seasons ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't care about it. All right, Harry, it's been a pleasure. And thanks for coming on. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Up the Arsenal.
Hey, see you, mate. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. If you haven't subscribed, like and subscribe. And come on, you Spurs.